I'll say. Once again, good evening, everyone. We hope that you enjoyed your meal prepared for you. And let's give a round of thanks to the staff, chefs, and servers from Sodexo. Tonight marks the 14th annual Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony here at the University of Southern Indiana. This year, we will honor some of the best athletes in the school's history in men's soccer, women's tennis, baseball, men's golf, women's cross country, and track. Before we begin, we'd like to recognize some of our special guests that are in attendance this evening. Former USI Board of Trustee, Bruce Baker. And we also have a couple of Hall of Fame members that were inducted recently. Shane Gibson and Jim Brown. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the athletic director here at the University of Southern Indiana, John Mark Hall.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening. In 2018, the University of Southern Indiana started what we call the USI Athletics Hall of Distinction. We felt we needed a place to recognize individuals who have contributed to USI athletics that were not a student athlete, a coach, or administrator. Our criteria for this award is simply this: special individuals who've made significant impact upon the growth and success of USI athletics. So while the verbiage is simple and precise, the impact these individuals have made will never be forgotten, and they have truly made a difference in the lives of our student athletes. These individuals will be recognized in the new edition of the Screaming Eagle Complex, or the old PAC as we call it, once construction is complete. Our first inductee tonight is Elmer Sander. Mr. Sander was a certified public accountant on the west side of Evansville who ultimately became the Director of Student Financial Assistance at then ISUE. He helped establish a modest financial goal to raise for our student athletes at USI to help with uniforms, travel, and other expenses. He called on many of his clients to help establish what is now called the USI Varsity Club. The first goal of the Varsity Club that Mr. Sanders and others had was to raise about $3,000 to help our ISUE teams, and now the Varsity Club raises approximately $200,000 a year for our student athletes. I did not know Mr. Sander personally, but I've heard many wonderful stories about him and what he did for ISUE, now USI Athletics. I think it's simple to see why he's being honored this evening, and I think it's also obvious that he's made an impact that will last for many years to come. Accepting the award tonight on behalf of his late grandfather is Mr. Chad Sander. Chad, will you please come forward to accept the award? I don't remember the first time I met our second inductee, Mr. Ray Wright, but I do know it was just shortly after my arrival at USI in 1995. It didn't take long for me to realize how much passion that Mr. Wright, his lovely wife Marilyn, and his entire family had for USI athletics. Mr. Wright was also involved with the varsity club in its early stages and has been an active member ever since. I do know Mr. Wright personally, and I'd like to share just some personal thoughts on him if I may. USI Athletics has had many highs, and Mr. Wright has always been there for those. We've also had some bumps in the road along the way, and one day I called Mr. Wright. I don't know if he remembers, but I called him to get some advice. His words were simple and forthright. He simply said, "John Mark, do what is right." I got the message loud and clear, and I followed his advice. He's been extremely generous to USI Athletics over the years, whether it's opening his own home for coaches and student athletes or letting us use his wonderful golf course and facilities at Cambridge. Mr. Wright, we appreciate all that you have done for us, and you are very deserving of this recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ray Wright. We had one inductee who could not be here with us tonight, Dean Dowdy. Dean Dowdy was a member of the men's soccer team from 1990 to 1992. And you can see in the program that we have, Dean was a three-time most valuable player on USI squads that won back-to-back GOVC titles and made the move to Division I in 1992. He was an all-region and all-GOVC player in 1991. Dean lost his teenage son this week and obviously could not be here with us today from his home in Canada. So I'd ask if we could have a moment of reflection and silence and remembrance of Dean and his wonderful son. Thank you very much. I know he would greatly appreciate it. Now Donna Gorski will introduce the rest of our inductees. Thank you.
Our first inductee into the class of 2020 Hall of Fame has his name in the record books for the past 30 years, an outstanding keeper on the men's soccer team. In fact, he retains the record for the most shutouts, not only in a season, but also in a career. His work in goal helped propel the Eagle soccer team to back-to-back GLVC championships during his career that began in 1988 and concluded in 1990. Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Matt Lavelle. First question, Matt, when did you start playing soccer and first game and goal?
Oh gosh, well I first started playing when I was 6 years old, and I became a goalkeeper when I was about 12, 13 years old.
Okay. When coming to USI, Tell us about the program and why you decided to enroll here.
Well, it was a good program, and I was very focused on it, and they recruited me at the time, and I came here and saw it. I really liked the campus, so it was a very good fit for me.
So part of 3 straight GLVC championship teams, what would you say would be the success of those 3 years?
The success as far as how did it occur?
Yeah, I mean, how did this team kind of come together to enjoy all the success that they did? What were some of the things, the factors, I guess, chemistry, getting along, attitude, those kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, coaching, there was talent, but above all else, there was a great camaraderie between everybody on the team, and there was such a brotherhood that, I've never found in anything else in my professional career or anything through the years. That group of guys was so close that that really typified. That's how we were so successful.
So a good goalkeeper probably has to have some pretty good defenders.
Oh,
Who were some of those that really kind of helped you?
oh wow. Thank you. Of course, Dean Dowdy, that was brought up right before this. Robert Bennett, Scott Hare, Chris King, Kevin Swords, John Heerdink. Actually, Shane Gibson, as we call him Gibbo, he came back as a central defender at times even, didn't you? So there were many players. And I mean, honestly, even attackers way up top that defended, that kept it from producing attack into our defensive third.
Okay, so one of the records you have here, Matt, is you made 15 saves in 1 match. So that tells me that the defenders either decided not to show up that day. So what did you do to kind of get them all upset where you were basically having to save every shot on goal?
Well, I mean, you have to attribute luck to a lot of that too, right? I mean, luck plays a part in it, and it was just anybody that's competed in any athletic event knows that some nights it's just your night, and that was my night, and so I still remember it was against East Stroudsburg, but yeah, I mean everybody in East Stroudsburg was such a quality team also that it wasn't necessarily that we were playing bad defensively, but they were having a great game. They were very talented, and it happened to be that night that I was on. So,
You play a position in a sport that I don't want to say there's downtime, but there's some times when you're gone all alone. The ball's on the other end of the field. You're kind of there with your thoughts. I mean, how did you kind of mentally prepare yourself for each and every time that you took the field?
Well, you always want to, as you say, you always want to stay in the game. It always helped me to yell at Robert Bennett a lot. I mean, I could just yell up at him, and kept me going. So,
The last 10 matches of your senior year, you allowed 1 goal. The team went 15-5-2. So suffice to say that you wanted to leave on top. Do you feel that you accomplished that goal when you graduated?
yeah, I do. I mean, and not just individually, like as a team. I think that when I left, we as a group, as a team, we left the program better than when we all came. And it was good when we came also, but we kept improving, and that's what I'm very proud of.
So what would be your greatest accomplishment during your years here at USI on the soccer field?
I would say, just the bonds that I developed with all the other guys. That because of that, we were able to win 3 GLVC tournaments in a row.
Well, congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
And here to present Matt to the Hall of Fame, former teammate Shane Gibson. I think it's safe to say that we are recognizing two of the best, if not the best, tennis players ever to compete at the University of Southern Indiana here this evening. Our next inductee was here at the turn of the century, and when she graduated, she took with her 4 years of all-conference selection, both on the court and in the classroom. In fact, she was a Conference Scholar Athlete of the Year back in the seasons of 2001 and 2002. On the court, she retains the record for most career single victories as well as combined doubles wins. Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Emily Blenzinger Park. How are you? Doing well. Emily, take us back to the day you received your call from John Mark Hall and said you were being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I was actually driving to the post office and I pulled my car to the side of the road and I cried a little. I was just so honored and so excited. It was really means a lot.
When did you, when was the day that you picked up your first tennis racket?
Oh, I was probably 5 or 6. Tennis has always been a family sport, so I remember going down to the tennis courts with my 2 big brothers and my mom and my dad, and so it's always been a part of our lives.
Most of the people on the career wins list here followed you to USI. What was the program like when you enrolled here back in 1999?
It was a strong program. I feel like the longer that I was with the program, we added more matches and we got in with some tougher teams. And
okay, your high school coach is here tonight with you. What kind of influence did she have in your development as a tennis player and possibly making the decision to come to USI?
She was always a great role model, and she was there to push me. She was a family friend as well. So I think she was happy that I was going somewhere where I could further my tennis career.
So at one time in your career, you won 15 consecutive matches, which is, I think, also a school record here. Can you take us back to that time? And did you kind of know each and every match as you continued to win the streak and how long it got?
No, I think I actually found that out when someone was reading me the stats, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty good. But no, I didn't even know.
Okay. Did you prefer playing singles or doubles?
Singles.
Okay. Tell us about the experience that you and your team had in the NCAA tournament.
That was a first, and I remember the season went longer. It had mostly been a fall sport, and then we were adding matches in the spring. So it was exciting to get to extend the season. And I remember we played some teams that we played earlier, but it was really exciting. I remember buying the T-shirt and thinking I was really cool because I had that shirt that said NCAA. So.
In most sports, they'll tell you that regular season and the NCAA or the postseason, it's entirely different as far as just the intensity, and you really can't make a mistake. Did you kind of feel that way going in to the tournament, or was it something that you were pretty relaxed and you treated the NCAA tournament match as a regular season match?
I think I treated it as a regular match. I don't know that I understood maybe how big of a deal it was, so I really wasn't that nervous.
Okay. And as you look back in your career, Emily, what would be maybe your greatest accomplishment, greatest match, something that you'll probably never forget?
I think tonight, this is it.
Wow, congratulations. Well, congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Fame, and here to present Emily is her high school coach, Cynthia Harris. Thank you. Congratulations. Well, we just heard from arguably one half of the 2 best women tennis players this school has produced. Our next inductee entered USI on the heels of Emily In fact, I believe they were on the same team for 1 year, and that team also advanced to the NCAA tournament her freshman year, and then again following her junior season. When she finished her eligibility, she placed her name on top of the records for career doubles wins and second in career single victories. She was the Conference Freshman of the Year and followed that up with the Conference Scholar Athlete of the Year 2 years after that. Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Ashley Reese Cantwell. Congratulations. All right, Emily was here, and the top singles player in school history. You are the top doubles career winner with 48. How many different partners did you have in your career playing doubles?
I probably had about 3 or 4 different partners. I started out playing number 3 singles with Kaylee Ackerman my freshman year and finished playing with Emily my freshman year at one doubles and played with a couple other people along the way.
So when you play doubles, Ashley, what's kind of the key to success? I mean, certainly you have to have communication, you have to have chemistry with your partner. What are some of the other things that go in to winning 48 doubles matches?
I would have to say learning to play at the net. That was probably my biggest accomplishment that I had to overcome, was learning how to play at the net.
You played at a time here when a lot of young ladies excelled in tennis. I mean, you guys had some really good teams. So how competitive were the practices?
They were competitive. We had a lot of fun. We all got along really well together and worked hard and really just had a good time, and were successful in that way.
So what would you say as far as your experience, kind of the same question that I had with Emily, just to get to the NCAA tournament? I mean, that is certainly the goal at the start of every season. So for you guys to get there, what was that experience like for you?
I'd probably have to agree with Emily. I don't think I really realized what it really was. To me, it was probably, like she said, just another match that we played. I just didn't really realize what it really meant.
When I talk to a lot of college athletes and I ask them about making that transition from high school to college, and you came on the scene and you were the freshman of the year. And so certainly that transition wasn't difficult for you as far as just the competition. So what did you kind of do to prepare yourself to take on one of the leadership roles early in your career here?
Well, I guess really we just worked hard. I studied hard and was successful at, I think I played number 2 singles most of my freshman year.
Okay. What would be your greatest match or accomplishment in your career?
Probably my greatest accomplishment would be holding the career record for doubles. When I was in high school, I never played a doubles match, so I always played singles. So coming to college and being able to have the opportunity to play doubles was probably my biggest accomplishment to hold that record.
So take us through that conversation with you and Coach Porter. You played singles all the way through high school, and then you come to USI. You're the freshman of the year, and she comes to you and says, Ashley, I'd like to have you play doubles. So with that, I mean, how was that received by you? Disappointed at all? Because certainly you took that role and ran with it.
Well, in college you can play singles and you can play doubles. Okay. So I still got to play singles, but like I said, I started out at number 3 doubles and worked my way up to playing number 1 doubles.
In 4 years, just your academic success, what was your undergraduate degree in, and then how much did that mean to be recognized in the classroom as well as the GLVC?
My degree is in advertising and a minor in marketing.
Okay, and what is Ashley doing today?
I actually work for a company called Intren. We build power lines.
Okay, good for you. Well, congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
All right, and here to present Ashley to the Hall of Fame, her coach, Keely Porter. Our next inductee made his mark at USI on the golf course. In fact, could be considered one of the top golfers ever to compete here at USI. The 1984 team remains as the only one to win a conference championship, and he was part of that group. He was a two-time all-conference performer as well as all-district during his sophomore year. Competing as an individual, he finished in the top 30 in the NCAA Division II championships. He was at that time, and still is today, the only golfer in USI history to qualify in the Division II National Finals. Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Dave Mcatee. How you doing?
All right.
Okay, Dave, the first time I ever picked up a golf club and teed off, it was a slice into the woods. Can you remember the first time you played around a golf?
Yeah, I can. I came in the game late. I didn't start playing golf till I was 15 years old, and started playing at Westman Par 3. We've had a longtime superintendent here tonight of Westman Par 3 and McDonald Golf Course, so I can remember hitting some slices there that day.
Okay. The level of golf right now in this area is probably at an all-time high. I mean, we see these kids in junior golf and excelling in high school and college and beyond professional. What was it like back for you in high school? What was the game of golf like?
Golf was a great game for me to play. I didn't really excel in any other sport as a young man, and came to golf kind of on a whim. Got tired of hunting and fishing during the summer, and some buddies wanted to start playing golf, and golf was just a game that you could do on your own, and you're competing against the golf course, and you could play with your buddies or you play by yourself, and it would just seem to be a perfect fit for me to get involved with.
Okay. In 1984, that team was pretty special because of the conference championship that you guys won. What made that group of guys so special?
That team was a team of guys fairly local. Had some players from Mount Vernon, Evansville, that all kind of gelled together, and had a wonderful coach in Jim Brown. Just getting to play college golf when I don't think a lot of us on that team were sure we would coming out of high school, and to be able to play in the GLVC conference against the other teams, and then get to the conference championship and actually won it was pretty special. But it was just kind of a ragtag group of guys from the area that got together and kind of gelled, and were able to be successful in the conference championship.
Well, the next year, take us through the tournament. You won the GLVC championships, individual medalist. I would assume what a 36-hole event at that time, and did you kind of take us through those 2 days and how you felt and kind of what it was like those last couple of holes and how you won the championship?
Yeah, the championship was at Seneca Golf Course in Louisville. Bellarmine was the host, and I just had a good 2 days going there. I remember winning the championship in a playoff, a one-hole playoff, and I'm probably the only conference champion that won the playoff with a bogey. But that's all it took for me to win the playoff. But it was just, again, a great experience, and all my experiences here at USI on the golf team were just terrific.
And the year after that, you qualified for the NCAA and finished 30th. What was that experience like for you, personally, and then to represent USI?
It was a big deal. I remember, Coach got us new uniforms, really, if you will, to go to Innisbrook in Tampa, Florida, compete in Division II National Championship. I got to go kind of, in some ways, I was lucky that they decided they didn't have, I think they normally took 3 teams from our region here in the Midwest to the NCAA Division II finals. They felt only 2 teams were strong enough, so they had 5 individuals go as for that 3rd team that they didn't select. That's how I got into the event, but just being there and competing against the top players in the country at the Division II level was a wonderful experience. Lee Jansen won the tournament. He barely beat me by 22 shots. But I mean, it was a great week, and great time with Coach down there, and guy from the West Side goes all the way to Florida to play in Division II finals. It was quite an experience.
Well, golf can be a lonely game. I mean, it's you and the golf course and all the hours that you would practice either with the team but also as an individual. Who would be maybe your mentor growing up for the game of golf?
Well, I got to say, I think we have one of the top golf professionals in Evansville that I've ever been around. I've been around a few throughout the country, and that would be Bob Walther. I think everyone that plays golf in Evansville knows that name, and he's a wonderful person, great role model, off the charts player, was always helpful, and so he would be the guy that I looked up to as a young man. And then I got a lot of swing help from Don Bassesi, the former golf pro at Helfrich Golf Course. And, our city golf courses are such a great, I'm going to plug in for city golf, but they're such great places for people to go and learn the game, that may not be members of clubs and can get on nice facilities and learn the game of golf and try to improve. And more than anything, you meet lifelong friends at the golf course. So pretty special places.
Well, I would think that playoff victory would be a highlight. Anything else, any other match, any other shot, stroke that you had that you'll sit there and will never forget while you remember the USI golf team?
No, I don't guess I had that many. But, again, just having the opportunity to compete in college in golf was terrific. And, to be able to know Jim Brown and be part of that program. And he was just a terrific coach to all of us on the team. I think he was the first and the longest tenured coach in golf here, both men and women's side. And it's just feel very fortunate that USI was there for me and many other players that came through.
And what does it mean to you, Dave, to get the call that you're now in the USI Athletic Hall of Fame?
I was stunned. So a lot of my friends have said I'm the first non-athlete to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, but no, it was a thrill when John Mark called, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I love the university and the environment, and just feel fortunate to be involved in some small way.
Well, congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Here to present Dave to the Hall of Fame is former coach Jim Brown. It didn't matter whether our next inductee was running inside or outside. More times than not, she was in front of everyone else. A three-time All-American, once in cross country, once in the indoor season, and a third time following an outdoor season. She also captured 3 Great Lakes Valley Conference championships. Again, one in cross country, one during the indoor season, and the third one following the outdoor meet. She was also named to 4 GLVC All-Conference teams in both cross country and in track. She was also an outstanding student, being named to the All-Conference All-Scholar team back-to-back years of 2006 and 2007. Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Allie Shafer Krieger. Well, Allie, you did it all. Fall, winter, spring, didn't matter. Where did you develop your passion to run?
Well, to be honest, I never thought of myself as a runner. I was a volleyball, basketball type athlete, and when I first started running was in junior high track, and the coach needed somebody to run 2 laps, 800 meters. I said, no way, I'm a sprinter. But I was told that's what I was going to be doing. So I did that, and I had no intentions of running past 8th grade. I was going to play softball. And I started to have some success, and I thought, well, maybe I could be a middle distance runner. So I did that for a while, until up into, I guess, in the high school. And then it took till my sophomore year of high school till I decided that I would run cross country after much convincing from some people in the community that were runners. I would do some local road races, and they'd say, you really should try this. I wasn't willing to give up my volleyball, though. So through my junior year of high school, I did both. And at that point is when I really started to have my success with my running succeeded what I was doing on the court. And so that's how I came about to the sport of running and cross country. And it wasn't until college I was introduced to the indoor track and field. And I don't know, I just love to run.
So, your first conversation with Coach Hilliard, how did that go?
Well, I think, I came from a real small high school, and actually there was only 2 runners there, and I did okay, but I wasn't highly sought after. And Coach expressed some interest. I think he really saw some potential, and his excitement to have me here was what fueled my excitement. I had been on one other college visit, and the whole time I just had this sick feeling in my stomach, and I thought, oh, and I came here, and it just felt like home. And so it was positive.
Okay. Did you prefer cross country or track?
While one might think they're the same, there's a lot of differences in them. And I can't say I had a favorite. They each had their respective things about them that I enjoyed. Once again, I just think that I like to run, and I'm a very competitive person. So it really didn't matter what surface I was on. Okay. I loved it.
Okay. A 3-time champion, cross country, indoor and outdoor track. Any of those specific races where you won that championship more special than the other 2? Are they all kind of the same?
I have to say cross country, my sophomore year, that was the year where my freshman year, it was a good year, but I really had, my sophomore year was my breakout year, and I think my coach believed in me more than what I did, and said, you can win this, and I did. We had a race plan, and I think it was kind of and I was able to execute it as we had discussed, and that had to be the most special. The first time is always the best most of the time.
This is a place where practice can be competitive with teammates pushing each other. Who were some of those teammates that you feel made you better?
First of all, I was fortunate to be on some team with some great runners and had some, my teammates now are some of my best friends still to this day. But Missy Bergen, she was one that we were both very competitive, sometimes a little bit too competitive. And then also I was on the tail of Heather Cooksey, who is also an inductee into the Hall of Fame. And I really looked up to her because, she was a national champion, and we called her Cookie. She didn't really care what anybody else thought of her. She just she was just a competitor, and she had this fire about her. And as a young athlete coming in, I wanted to be like her. So I never could work out with her because she was so much faster than I was at that point in time. But she was definitely a mentor for me. And then there were a few others on my team that we pushed each other.
So what kind of feeling did you get near the end of the race, last 100 meters, and there's nobody in front of you other than the line of, the finish line there? What's that like after a long, grueling race and to be there at the end and know that you're going to win?
It's pretty special. It is. Like I said, I go back to, cross country where, we had a race plan, and I just kept waiting for them to catch me and just waiting. And it's a big no-no when in racing, you don't look back. You kind of get yelled at when you do that. That's a big no-no. So I just kept waiting, like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? That was always my dad's job in the races. He's always telling me, there's so many feet behind you. But it's really, it's a really, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just a kind of a compilation of all your efforts put together, and it's rewarding.
So, and you look at all the tradition here for USI cross country and track, and now for you to have your name in the Hall of Fame with all the great runners in the school's history, what does that mean for you?
It's really special. I feel very honored and very fortunate. There's been, Coach Hilliard has created quite the program, and there's a lot of ladies that are coming up behind me that, it's neat. Miles and I, we still follow the sport closely, and it's just neat to know that I've been a part of this program that has such rich history and goes to the national meet year after year after year.
All right, so I have an unfair question for you, and I apologize ahead of time. So, within, say, 750 miles, can you tell me how many miles you logged for USI running?
Oh, my husband could probably tell you this, but he's. I can tell you that I was running 80 miles a week at my peak. So, and we trained. So if you want to do the math.
Wow. Do you still run today?
Well, yes and no. We have a 2-month-old baby, so the last few months I haven't logged many miles, but Miles and I, we do coach cross country at our high school. So this fall you would see me with my big old belly toting its way around the courses. But since that's ended, not so much. But I have plans. We've invested in a good treadmill, so
Okay.
I'm going to get back at it.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Fame. And here to
Thank you.
present Allie to the Hall of Fame is her coach at USI, Mike Hilliard. Well, we have all heard the expression, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Well, when the university hired this guy to take over the baseball program in 2007, he didn't need a second chance. His first team set the school record for wins in a season with 43 and accomplished goals never before seen at the school. In addition to setting the record for wins, they also captured the school's first Midwest Regional Championship and advanced to the World Series, where they eventually tied for third. As a team, they hit .283, and the pitching staff had a combined ERA of under 4, and they set the standard for all the success this program has enjoyed the last 13 years. Please welcome to the USI Hall of Fame head baseball coach Tracy Archuleta and the 2007 USI team.
I don't know if I trust all these guys behind me.
All right, Tracy, you were familiar with this USI program, coaching against it when you were at Parkside. What were some of your deciding factors in applying for the job when it opened after the 2006 season?
Every year, I was at Parkside for 5 years. Every year we showed up to USI, the stands were always packed. They had a great community support, and I know Dustin played for me at Parkside, and so did Joel. And I remember talking to them about it when the job opened, and they said, man, this would be a great place. One, because it's South, and two, just because of a great community.
When you met the team in the fall of 2006, what was your first impression of them bringing in a whole new staff?
Be honest.
You want to answer this better?
It's probably not the setting. So I remember this distinctly, as a matter of fact. We were above the gym in the upstairs classrooms, and Arch came in to introduce himself to the team. And we were kind of smoking and joking like, we do. And Arch came in, and somebody made a comment, and he may or may not be on the stage right now, but Arch did not find it funny, and he snatched him up pretty quick and set the tone, I think, right then and there, that mediocrity would not be tolerated. So I think from that very moment, we knew we were in for something serious, and he really set the tone.
Okay, so you started out your first game, first couple, you beat Oakland City. And then there was a 4-game series with Henderson State. In one of those games, you lost 19-1. Were there any second thoughts about this job and this school?
The second thoughts started, and if you pass that mic over to Dustin and Joel here, just pass that mic over there. They're going to help you out with this. I remember distinctly going into the press box after our fall games. The first game we played, was it John Logan, guys?
You're talking about Vincennes.
Oh, was it Vincennes?
Yeah, it was a
Doubleheader against Vincennes. We went into the press box afterwards, and we all three looked at each other and said, what did we get ourselves into? Because we didn't play very well. Joel, I'll let you take it from here.
We scored 1 run in 18 innings. I think, Dustin, you said you weren't going to have enough practice scoring runs. You weren't going to know how to wave anybody in because you only scored 1 run in 18 innings. We looked at each other and said, are we going to win any games this year, guys? How are we going to do this?
So after that series with Henderson State, things started to kind of roll for your team. But when did you kind of get a sense, Tracy, that this team was going to be something pretty special?
We came back from Henderson. I believe Findlay, was that correct? We played Findlay. We swept Findlay, and then I believe it was a spring break that we're going down to Huntsville. And Huntsville normally is I'm going to say, top 25 team in the country. I've had a lot of success. And we go down there. We sweep them. Kevin O'Hare had the best career, I think, of a hitting. Where you at, Kevin? Huh? What'd you get, 4 or 5 hits in that series? I think he had 6 all the whole year, and he had 4 there. No. But I do distinctly remember this. I think all of us, we always had a great support. And I remember leaving Huntsville. We just got done. We're excited. We won a big series. And I'm leaving the park, and I see Lisa Slade. And she's crying. She has tears coming down her eyes. And I look at her, and I'm like, Lisa, what's wrong? She goes, we really won. We won. And from then, that's when I think we all figured out that, hey, we can get this done. We can kind of move forward a little bit.
This is probably a dangerous question. So can you explain or tell the characteristic of these guys? I mean, when you look, because the makeup of a team, there's different type of personalities. If I had to ask you, what was the personality of this team?
I think the one thing I'm going to say is, and I've talked about this a lot, and baseball players are different. We all are. We all have different characteristics, different things. And this bunch was as tough of any bunch that I've ever coached. Because when we came in, when me and Dustin and Joel came in, everything was so new. And so they had to adapt to us. And each game was really, really hard on them because there was a lot of changes that we had to do. And they didn't back down from us. There was some time in the dugout to where, hey, some guys went toe-to-toe. And it was hard at times, but the way we got back on, and we're all about winning baseball games. Hunter, you got anything on that? What do you got?
Yeah, I think. What was the question again?
What would be the personality of this team, Hunter?
I would say, if I had to just describe it in one word, it's misfits. I mean, look at these guys. I mean, just a bunch of guys that love baseball, and really, we were hungry to win. We were dying to win.
And we just needed somebody like Arch and Murray and Weave to come in and really set the precedence, give us the framework, and we were able to take it from there. But we were not an overly talented bunch, top to bottom, but we loved playing the game, and we played it well together.
So the overall team batting average was 283. The ERA was under 4. Obviously, you had Mastriani, so he's off the charts. Corey and Casey, their ERAs were like minuscule. So from that standpoint, the pitching, the hitting, everything really just kind of came together.
Yeah, it did come together, and we definitely could pitch it. When we look at the 3 starters, I believe it went Summer, Julian, Vetter was our 3 starters, and really didn't have. Brooke was started out as a closer, but the Henderson game kind of ended that. The way we at Brooke, but then our bullpen with Wenholt and Clark, Geiger and Michael Daywick. Michael, raise your hand here. I just want to apologize to Michael for yelling at him. I'm sorry, because after our U of E loss, I kind of got into him a little bit. Michael, I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
But they pitch. We pitch it, play defense. Kevin O'Hare and Darren up the middle. Michael Bevan, Corey, you can describe the catch. Go ahead. We were talking about this at the radio show. Describe Michael Bevan's catch, and was it the regional?
Yeah, is Rudden here?
No.
Okay, good. So the ball was in left field, and you said it the other night. You just were waiting for Rudden to camp under it, and he was nowhere to be found. And Bevan just comes Superman out of nowhere, diving on the warning track, and it saved. What I think it saved the regional for us, because I think we were all kind of in the understanding of we got to win this first one, because if we don't win the first one, who knows what's going to happen in the second one. So it was a huge part.
Okay, other baseball teams at this school are going to have their night like this. It's coming. But to have your first team go to the World Series and now stand here tonight getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, it's got to be really special for you.
It is, and Coach Keiser's in the room, and we talk about this back and forth about different teams and everything else. The 2007 team set the precedent. Once we went to Montgomery, Alabama, went to the World Series, every year that's expectations, and it's this bunch of misfits that put that tradition. They started it, and can't thank them enough for battling through me, Coach Murray and Coach Weaver's time there in that first year, and they were fun to be around, and I wouldn't trade that Akron, Ohio trip for anything, where we only gave up 2 runs in 4 games. Just amazing. And Jeremy Kirk gets his third? How many starts did you have that year, Jeremy? Do you remember? 6 starts, and the championship game goes 1-0, and Corey comes in, and that's another good story. But we only used 4 pitchers, and Corey had to go to the bullpen. I don't know. That was Coach Weaver's idea, guys.
All right. That was a good idea. The 2007 USI baseball team in the USI Hall of Fame. Congratulations, guys. Okay, if we can have all the inductees up for a group picture. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay, this concludes the 2020 USI Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. Appreciate everybody coming tonight. And again, the inductees, we will need you to stay around for just a minute to get a group picture. Thank you again for coming. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that he passed it around. I thought, well, that's enough of those guys, about 3 or 4 of those guys.